Hello, my name is Reggie Dow. I'm a senior at LaSalle, and I will be talking about sports-related injuries, treatment plans, and rehab plans. The two injuries that I will be talking about is the ACL tear and the hamstring tear. For the hamstring tear, the three hamstring muscles are the semitendinosus, semimbranosus, and the bicep femoris. The hamstring can do knee flexion. So that means that if you are running or anything like that in soccer, ice hockey, or football, too much overload can put a lot of stress on their muscles and actually tear it apart. Or you can have a tear. There's three grades of tear: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1, you may not have to get surgery with, most likely, for 1 and 2, but you may have to do a little bit of rehabbing. It takes 4 to 8 weeks for it to heal and rest, as well as do some PT. You would try to get as much range of motion as you can. You would do a lot of flexion extension, some moving exercises where it consider you jumping on a single leg, landing on the other. You're doing different side lunge variations, as well as you could be sitting down in the rolling wheelchair, doing knee extension as well as knee flexion, so that also helps with your hamstring. With the ACL though, because that is a little more serious injury, more than likely you will have to do surgery. And also, what is common too, you can tear your meniscus, which is actually on the side of your knee. So if you tear the ACL and meniscus, that's actually a little bit more of a recovery process versus if you just tear your ACL. The ACL can range up to 6 to 8 months recovery. An ACL meniscus can range up to 7 to 9 months, because you have to wait a little. You have to be on bed rest a little bit more longer than you do if you just had your ACL. So after you have your surgery for the ACL, you go into PT, where that first week, will actually for a couple months you're on crutches. Especially if you have an ACL meniscus tear. But them first couple of weeks, you're really just trying to get as much range of motion in your knee as you can, using the stem system that's going to fire up your glutes, your hamstrings and quads, really the thigh muscles. Because you had surgery, those thigh muscles really are not working properly how they should. So you have to wake them up. So you use the stem. You're going to be riding a bike much, and a bunch of ice and elevation that's going to help with this swelling. Because after surgery, your knee is swollen, and you're in pain for a little bit. So definitely the ice and elevation in your knee will help it out a lot. As time goes on, the PT progresses. You now are trying to do more weight bearing, more stability, single and both legs, but definitely more single, especially the injured side. Definitely increasing your quad strength, because more quad strength you have, the more knee stability you will have. So it's going to help your overall knee function and mobility, as well as the hamstrings too. They both playing good parts with that. And back to the hamstring tear. So yes, so if it's tier 1 and tier 2, then you might not have surgery. But if it's tier 3, that your doctor might recommend surgery, where he basically makes kind of a cut on the back of your leg where the hamstring is, depending on which muscle it is, and he puts the muscle together where he can either stitch it or staple it together. So that's how that would go apart. And then you would do PT. For actually, it says 3 months you can recover from a hamstring tear if it's tier 3. But if it's tier 1 or 2, that's possibly 4 to 8, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how bad you ruptured it or the age as well. A couple of factors can play into that part with the hamstring tear, and it's kind of a chronic thing. If you tore it once, it's kind of a higher chance that you can do it again, especially if it's not fully healed. Because sometimes you can still play if you did 2.5 months if you had a bad hamstring tear. Because I myself went through that in high school, So I think definitely by now that, I think definitely by now that it's fully healed, but I know for a little while, it took me almost at least a good 6 months for it to completely heal because I would get back to playing soccer a little bit too soon. But yes, those are some treatments that you can do with that one. Icing is good with that as well as a heating pad for your hamstring tear. And then for the ACL, some good treatments are icing your knee, stretching as much as you can, wearing a brace. Knee braces are definitely important. You're gonna wear that probably a couple of months, couple of weeks, depending on how your process is going, but the brace is gonna help with the range of motion and limiting your knee as possible when you get out of surgery because you don't wanna move your knee that much. You kinda wanna try to get the swelling to go down and move around that knee bone a little bit, massage your ACL. You wanna try to get it as loose because post-surgery it is stiff. It's definitely going to be tough to bend your knee, get it to 90 degrees, and get some more knee flexion in there. But it's definitely a long journey and just takes a lot of mental toughness. But there have been a lot of athletes and people in general coming back from ACL tears that actually been doing fine before they had their injury. And same goes for a hamstring injury. So that is all I have today. You have a blessed day.